Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bokakadash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. Balashkodash, Holy Tongue, and I say Barak to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwa, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit down lesson of the earthquakes in diverse places as of March the 31st, 2026, on this Tuesday afternoon. This is the book of Second Edges, chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measured out the time diligently in itself, what thou seest parts of the science past, which I had told you before. Right, so this is Prophet Ezra's has. Hello. Hello. Hello, that's his call.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you hear your ass call.
Hi there. How are you doing today?
Doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm calling about the new Medicare benefits for 2026 enrollment. So this includes free medication, prescription coverage, food cards, and cash back of up to $250. So quick question. Do you currently have Medicare Part A and B?
No. So, as the prophet Ezra was mentioned, measuring the time diligent itself, especially, we see these earthquakes in diverse places. That's an increasing sign right there. That we're going to see the Heavenly Father going to visit this earth. That's why He told us to measure the time diligent itself. So He's going to miss, the Heavenly Father's going to visit this earth in many different ways, and He's going to show us these many different signs in many different ways. And that's what He's showing forth that on planet Earth, because He's showing us these plain beginning and powerful works and the effects of signs. I just want to add a side note to that. And this is the book of Second Edges, chapter 9, verse 2. It says, then thou shalt understand it is a very same time where in the highest was the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, will begin to visit the world which He made. Right, so we're going to start to see the Heavenly Father begin to visit the world which He made. Because the Heavenly Father, He's the true creator of everything. So He's going to visit this earth now, so which He made. And we're going to be seeing more signs of that. And that's the key word with the earthquakes. So He's going to visit the earth with these earthquakes. Second Edges, 9, verse 3. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, upwards people world, right? So more increasing earthquakes in the upwards people world, especially particularly the earthquakes. And this is the book of Luke 21. It's the Gospel of Luke 21 and verse 11. The Gospel of Luke 21 and verse 11. Yahweh Shai speaking in red letter. It says, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall be from heaven. Right, so Yahweh Shai. So it's going to show us these great signs, and they shall be from heaven. He's showing us these earthquakes in diverse places of Him visiting the earth now, so which He made, as Yahweh Shai spoke about. And this is from the latest of USGS.GOV. And you had a 3.2. The total of 63 earthquakes was recorded from March the 30th all the way to March the 31st of 2026. And you had a 3.2 earthquake, 92 kilometers north of Charlotte, Mali, U.S. Virgin Islands. Then you had a 2.5 earthquake recorded 11 kilometers east of Halaya, Hawaii. And I believe it was that last week you had heavy storms over there, especially like the northern part of Hawaii. So the Heavenly Father will visit the earth with these heavy storms over there in Hawaii, especially with the recent earthquakes as well too. This is another 5.1 earthquake. Yeah, this was a 5.1 earthquake, 220 kilometers north of Scolia, Ventu. And that's the same area day before yesterday got hit with a 7.3 earthquake over there in that region. I would say near the Ventu region. in that region down there. And then you had like 4 or 5 aftershocks, and the largest one was a 5.4 earthquake. And then they had the large 7.3 earthquake hit near the Ventura region in that area down there. And then you had a 4.3 earthquake 79 kilometers north of Charlotte, Maui, U.S. Virgin Islands. Another 4.9 earthquake. Most of these are aftershocks. Yep, you had two. I would say yeah, the largest one was that 4.9 earthquake in the Virgin Islands, and the two aftershocks. I would say it was a 3.1 and a 2. Yep, and a two. Yep, you had one 4.3, 3.1, and then the largest one was a right. You had 3.2, 4.3, 3.1, and then the largest one was a 4.9 earthquake over there in the north of Charlotte, Maui, U.S. Virgin Islands. And then you had a 4.0 earthquake 265 kilometers southwest of Aplogon of China, if I pronounced that right. 3.0 earthquake in the north Charlotte, Maui Island of Virgin Islands. And then you had a 5.7 earthquake in the Kermadec Islands of New Zealand. 4.8 earthquake 286 kilometers west and northwest of Halima, Tonga. And I believe that was the area like last week, if I'm not mistaken, over there in Tonga, they got hit with that 7.6 earthquake. So ever since then, we've been seeing aftermath, aftershocks of that large earthquake last week or a week and a half ago over there in Tonga. That was a 7.6 earthquake over there in that area. You had a 2.6 earthquake recorded 74 kilometers southeast of Adok, Alaska. 3.8 earthquake 58 kilometers northeast of Valima, Nevada. 4.4 earthquake recorded 23 kilometers west and southwest of Taiping, China. You had a 4.5 earthquake 117 kilometers of Taliman, Japan. Because I believe back in, I would say back in February, Japan got hit with that large 7.0 earthquake. Just wanted to add a side note to that. Then you had a 4.4 earthquake in the Solomon Islands, 5.1, yeah, 5.1 earthquake 210 kilometers northwest in the Grantalio, Indonesia. Then you had a 4.9 earthquake in the Ventura region, 4.2 earthquake in Valley Antigua, if I pronounced that right. And then you had a 4.6 earthquake in Tonga, 5.0 earthquake in Valley Antigua, 4.7 earthquake in Kazakhstan, 4.7 earthquake in Indonesia. All those, yeah, those from yesterday. So far, those was the latest earthquakes from March the 31st, 2026. And then you had a total of 63 earthquakes from yesterday and all the way today. And this is the Gospel of Luke 21 and verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. Right. So the Shai says it's going to be an increasing uptick of great earthquakes in diverse places. And famines and pestilence and different cycles of great sand shall be from heaven. And this is the prophet Isaiah. It's the prophet Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 6. It's the prophet Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 6, and reads, it says, thou shalt be visit of Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise and storms and tempests and flames by fire. Right, so the prophet Isaiah mentioned that the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, is going to visit the earth with the storms and tempests and great noise. Yep, it says storm and tempest and the flame by fire and with the earthquakes. So more visitation from Yahweh of hosts with the earthquakes, definitely for sure. And this is the prophet Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 2, once again. Yet the prophet Isaiah speaking, the prophet Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 2, behold, Yahweh has a mighty destroying one, which is a tempest of a hell destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters, should cast on the earth with their hand. Right, so the prophet Isaiah was mentioned that the heavenly Father is going to visit the earth the strong storms and flood the mighty waters and overflowing shall cast the earth their hand. As we're going to be seeing more and more. This is the book of Psalms 18 and verse 7. It's the book of Psalms 18 and verse 7. It says, Then the earth shook and trembled, and the fountains also the hills were moved because it was wrath. Because you look at the word WROTH, the definition of a wrath is angry, because Heavenly Father is angry with the wicked every day. Because since the wicked is very rule right now, because he had chemtrails in the air, trying to tamper with the weather and stuff like that, especially with this heart machine, which is ruled by the wicked. So the Heavenly Father is angry with the wicked every day. So he visits this earth from a righteous perspective, from a merciful, powerful perspective, a righteous perspective. So we're definitely seeing more great shaking. So the Heavenly Father visits this earth with the earthquakes. That's what we're seeing. So that shows you that the Heavenly Father, he's a righteous, boundless power. And we get to that Matthew's. Yep, this is Matthew's the 24th chapter. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 7. It says, For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, which goes to Ephenos. It says, There shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So this is what Yahushua spoke about as he spoke to the disciples at the Mount of Olives. And just like he spoke about this 2,000 years ago. Now, this is being referenced into these times that Yahushua spoke about. There's going to be a sign of famines and pestilence, famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places, and definitely particularly modern day earthquakes in diverse places. That's what we're seeing. And this is the book of Matthew's, Luke 21, verse 11. Let's say that I'll close it out. This is the Gospel of Luke 21 and verse 11. Yep, this is Luke 21 and verse 11. It says, And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. So more and more on a daily basis around the world, earthquakes in various places, earthquakes in diverse places. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. And famines and pestilence and fearful signs and great signs should be from heaven. Right, so more and more great signs should be from heaven. More and more earthquakes in various places. And earthquakes in diverse places is only going to continue to increase. So with that, this was just a sit-down lesson that I wanted to bring out of the earthquakes in diverse places as of March the 31st, 2026 on this Tuesday afternoon / night. So with that, hopefully this was edifying of the latest of earthquakes in diverse places news updates as of March the 31st, 2026 on this Tuesday afternoon / night. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash, and Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and his unbegotten Son, Ba'ashem, and the name of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, Balash Kadash with the tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwa, until next time I would say, Abba, Yashram, and Shalom.